All right, we'll just wait for Brett.
Outside, just like I like it.
Pretty big fish to fry. Pretty big fish to fry. My, pretty big fish to fry. Pretty big fish to fry. My. Last weekend I very thought I'd make it out alive. Told myself I'd take time and give the world a try. I was alive. My.
It is Thursday, January the 25th, 2018. You are checking out the premier sports and beer podcast throughout this great nation. It is Low and Outside, lowandoutside.com. Thanks for taking the time, everybody. My name is Jeff. I'm joined this week by a prestigious panel of awesome sports fans. And so let's waste no more time.
Why don't you go back home to your street malls and drink your Zimas and Smirnoff Ices? Oh, yeah! The greatest beer in all the world!
Somebody from the bar.
Yeah, I like cold beverage, yeah. I like cold beverage, yeah. I like cold beverage, yeah. Cause I'm feeling kind of parched. Stick it in the fridge, stick it in the fridge, stick it in the fridge, stick it in the fridge. Stick it in the fridge.
Drinking out of my Coors Light Yeti koozie, courtesy of our former college football expert, Sean.
R.I.P.
I am drinking a Asbury Park Brewing Stout. Checks in at about just under 5. It's very drinkable, especially for a darker beer. It's very, very enjoyable. Asbury Park Brewing. Cheers. Little known fact about Asbury Park Brewing. You know how Springsteen's doing that show on Broadway right now? They're selling Asbury Park Brewing beer on Broadway, which is kind of cool.
I'm hardworking and I'm from Jersey.
Wiretapping is un-American.
That sounded like the Jetsons car.
George Bush hates people. Yep. How are you, man? You still dry?
It's not raining out.
Yep.
So, yes, I am dry. This is the last week. 6 more days to countdown. I'm having a LaCroix. This one is
What exactly?
What's that?
What exactly is that?
It's just like flavored seltzer. I don't know why this is so hot. Chicks dig this shit. Not that I would know because I'm married, but I heard that chicks dig this shit. LaCroix. I feel like such a dick when I say it. This is the grapefruit one, also known as pamplemousse.
Yeah, that's what makes you the dick.
All right, well,
when you say
next week I'll be back.
I'm excited for the triumphant return of.
Actually, it may not be next week.
Why?
Wednesday is the 31st.
You got to
Work out these details. Stay tuned. You'll have to tune in next week.
You got to pull a Brett and just be like, no, I'm close enough. It's fine.
That's what he's done his whole life.
No. Nikki Parsippany, what's up, man?
Nothing much. I got a Tahoe Deep Imperial IPA, 8.5%.
Tahoe Deep. Where is Tahoe Deep located?
In the valleys of Auburn, California.
Where the fuck is that?
I've absolutely never heard of Tahoe Deep before.
Well, I beat you to it.
Is it any good?
It's excellent. Very, very hoppy, but exactly what I wanted. So,
where did you acquire such a tall can of Tahoe Deep?
It's a 4-pack, 16-ounce. Joe Canals in Parsippany.
Ooh, look at that! Shout out to Joe Canals. So, if you're ever looking for Tahoe Deep, you can go to Joe Canals. Do they sell whatever dick bag drink Yampo's got at Joe Canals?
I'm not sure I saw that.
LaCroix.
They only sell that at
Joe Canales.
Yo Canales.
Yeah, on the
John
outskirts of
Benet.
DC.
Let's go.
Who cares?
We got a lot in Who Cares tonight.
I care.
Apparently you do. You had hinted that there were some things on the Who Cares lineup tonight that you actually care about. So
Let's flip the script.
yeah,
I care.
false. Big
Okay.
thing.
I definitely don't care. I can't listen to anybody else on a podcast or anyone else ever say "Who cares" without thinking of me saying,
Without thinking that they ripped the bit off.
"Yeah, they totally took my fucking bit." Bill Simmons.
Copyrighted.
Bill Simmons, I know you're listening.
You are
Took
listening.
my fucking bit.
You're all listening. Who cares? This one is straight out of the Who Cares.
This was what Who Cares was derived from. This was the birth of Who Cares.
Take it.
The NBA Players Association kept the All-Star Draft from being televised.
They televise everything. Like they televise like the
LeBron James decision.
well,
I don't get it.
they televise like what order the draft is going to be, and then they televise the draft. Like the NBA monetizes everything. So what's the rationale? They didn't want Kristaps Porzingis to be angry that he was picked last, like the fat kid in gym class.
I think that would make for great television. I don't understand.
I agree, but why would the union not want it?
Honestly, who fucking cares?
If it was hockey, you'd care.
Who cares? That's true. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens left out again.
Box.
Yeah, he was. I know someone else who's in Steinbrenner's box. They didn't make the Hall.
No, they didn't.
I don't know what's going on with Nick, but he's just having a tough time here.
I'm not saying anything.
Here's the part. Here's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
This is written up. Bonds and Clemens left out again, and Edgar.
Yeah, he was left out again too. Edgar Martinez.
But 5% though, or 5% of the votes missed.
Was
it.
Edgar Martinez really that good, or did you just have like 5 years where he was just on a good Mariner squad being sandwiched between Ken Griffey and Jay Buhner?
Let's do this. Let's talk about the other guys first and wait for hopefully Brett to join us in momentarily because he's going to definitely have a take on Edgar Martinez.
Well, then definitely.
I think it's some affirmative action thing.
What do you
All right.
do you think that Bonds and Clemens two questions. Do you think Bonds and Clemens will ever get in?
2-part question, one answer. No.
You don't think either of them will get in? Ever.
I mean, these are two of the most prolific steroid users in baseball history.
Right.
And I just feel like MLB is just
allegedly.
okay, whatever. Like I allegedly did drugs in college. We get it. Allegedly. I think.
Hey, babe. Thinking about you. How about me going to a meeting and doing this before I go?
Allegedly,
Brett is wearing a dress shirt. Allegedly.
So you,
That is correct.
you think they're two steroid guys? They're not getting it.
I just don't see how MLB can do that and look anybody in the eye with a straight face and be like, yeah, what about it?
Well, let's be clear. MLB doesn't put them in,
Oh, the writers, right?
but Writers Association.
I got to vote. I was going to do Francesa. I'm the worst Francesa. You know how many times he mentioned he has a fucking vote in the SAG Awards? Who cares, you fat slob?
I can't vote for Casey Affleck. Yeah.
Shut up.
I'm gonna vote for what was the horse in Secretary?
Brett, what do you think? Bonds and Clemens ever going to make it?
Yes, eventually they will make it.
When guys like me,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if the time exactly when guys like Francesa drop dead.
Too many Diet Cokes and I have some diabetic seizure and hit my head and die. You know.
How many times are you allowed to be on there? Like, how many times could you be on the ballot?
It's a 10-year ballot, and then after that, you can go to Veterans Committee. Like the Veterans Committee is also putting in Jack Morris, and Blackjack, man, the pitcher from the White Sox.
That was Mike Donnelly's dad, not
that was Mike
or
Donnelly.
your dad.
That was Mike Donnelly's dad.
10-year ballot. Me and the dog, we did 20. Yeah.
They'll get in eventually. It's just gonna, it takes the time for people's opinions and ideas to change.
I guess they're gonna have to wait for the Veterans Committee.
The question that we had that I waited for us to really get into until you joined the show. Edgar Martinez left out again.
Yeah.
And Yampo's question was he really that good, or was he just surrounded by a couple of stacked Mariner teams for a good portion of his career?
I thought he was a very fine hitter. Very fine.
Do you put him in?
Like, it's weird. I know I learned today that there is a punter and 2 kickers in the Hall of Fame football, I believe.
Wow, that's impressive.
So
Reggie Roby?
I have no idea. I don't even know. But to be honest with you, what that made me think about was the fact that specialty positions going into the Hall of Fame. Like, if you just took Edgar Martinez and in your head somebody told you, oh, he was a career first baseman, you'd look at his numbers and be like, yeah, he's going into the Hall of Fame. But because he's a DH, it's a problem for a lot of people. But I don't have a problem with it. I would vote him in because the same reason people would, and I think he belongs, the same reason Ozzie Smith belongs in there. Ozzie Smith was a one-dimensional player. He was a fantastic shortstop, one of the best of all time. Couldn't really hit.
Here's what I don't understand, right? Trevor Hoffman goes in.
Yeah,
right.
And in a couple of years, Rivera is going to go in.
I think it's next year. I think he's eligible next year.
Yeah, okay.
So Trevor Hoffman goes in. He's number 2 all time in saves. He's a relief pitcher.
Yeah.
Right? He's a closer.
Yeah.
So he went in because he came in, did his job, closing games, saving games. That's why he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Nobody asked him to pitch 4 innings or to go out there and hit the ball as well. But we put him in the Hall of Fame. Edgar Martinez played a position that is an actual position in Major League Baseball.
Yes, it is.
And he might be the best player to ever do it, and yet he's not in. Like, it's just hypocritical.
I completely agree.
Either one of you have a different take, Nick, Yampo?
This is here for a reason. Who cares?
Okay.
I want you to control the board one night, Yampo.
Oh, it would be a mess.
How many sound bites do you have in there, Cove?
I got a bunch. I mean, you want me to go through them real quick?
No.
Yeah, I want the one.
Why? We do that one every Sunday.
I love it.
I mean, every show.
Ex-cokehead.
These hot guys.
Haven't played that one in a while.
Because we haven't talked about
That's
hot
a good
guys
one.
yet.
That's great.
Tiger did tee off at Torrey Pines today.
Nice.
Plus 1, right, or something?
Yeah, I knew he was even through 17. I don't know where he finished. He might have bogeyed 18.
That's cool. That's not in Who Cares, is it?
No, it's not.
Vlad Guerrero going in, first guy to wear a halo. That's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Mike Trout will be the second.
Wait,
most definitely.
Vlad Guerrero is the first Angel to make it to the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in their defense, Reggie Jackson would have made it had he not got turned into a robot and tried to kill the Queen of England in the middle of the game. So, you know,
it's an obscure reference that's falling on deaf ears.
We're both looking at each other like, huh?
Who's that guy from Angels in the Outfield? Who's
Oh,
that
I knew
actor?
that was coming. That's right in your fucking wheelhouse.
You're talking about Christopher Lloyd.
Yes, he should be in.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd should definitely be in.
Roads, where we're going, we don't need roads.
Hey, guess what?
What?
The Mets re-signed Jose Reyes.
Hit it. Hit it.
I already did.
Maybe they'll get his dribble.
I'll tell you, did anybody hear Evan Roberts out loud talk to Sandy Alderson and kind of put him on blast for what the Mets have done as far as free agent moves?
And he defended himself.
It was pretty good. It took balls to ask the question. It was a great job by Evan. And then Sandy took the mic and was like, thank you very much for asking that question. It's such a good question. I'm going to hand this over to Paul to answer. And then that was it. I don't know. I have no idea who it was, but
and then Springsteen popped in and said, "Oh, Sandy,
playing on Broadway.
I'm hardworking and I'm from Jersey."
Speaking of hardworking, the Vikings fans, huh?
Ooh, I love this. This is not Who Cares material. This is Yampo fucking cares.
Okay.
Okay. This is
all
great.
bullshit, though.
This is incredible. What are you kidding me?
It's a rumor.
It's not a rumor.
They're not really doing it.
It's a rumor. Okay. Okay.
Not a rumor.
Never happened. Okay.
Listen, Vikings fans in Minnesota signing up to be Uber drivers just to take Eagles fans in town for the game to the wrong locations on purpose. I love it. I love it. The Eagles fans are fucking scum of the earth.
Like I hope like the Eagles fans are trying to like get into get to some restaurant and they just drop them off in like the middle of the woods somewhere. Like it's right around the corner. It's right there.
Those people, and listen, I've been there twice in Giants gear. Okay, these people are savages. They all look the same too. They all look like uneducated Jeff Coviellos with their dumb fucking goatees and their wife beaters and their jeans and their Timbs, and they all belong in the fields of South Jersey in Cinnaminson, that fucking shithole that is. Leave them all down there, pieces of shit.
I haven't had a goatee in like 7 years.
Yeah, I guess you have a
bring it back. Bring it back.
No. Honestly, I mean, I know everybody's
Stone Cold.
Everybody's seen all these videos of the fans walking in getting pelted with beers and the fans walking in getting pushed and shoved. I swear to God, if I was walking into that stadium and people were touching me,
what?
This is a rant.
What are you, the WWE crowd?
Sorry.
This is a rant.
Go ahead.
No, I'm done now. You ruined it.
Oh. You know what I'm taking away from this, Yampo?
What?
Go Pats.
Oh, no.
Hey,
I'm gonna wave that banner.
Not my podcast.
I'm pot committed. Pats for the dubs.
It's yuck.
Oh God, get the hell out!
I fucking hate the Eagles, Nick.
First of all, I
hope the Eagles win.
I only really know one person from Minnesota, and she's one of the nicest people that I've ever met. And there's no way that if anyone in that city if the majority of the city is like her, there's no way that people are signing up to be Uber drivers to drive Philly fans to the middle of nowhere. Can you?
If it was the opposite,
can you imagine 100,000 Mary Rasiopos signing up to be Uber drivers to drop people off in the wrong place?
But you know where I could see them doing this? In scumbag Philly.
100%.
Right. If it was opposite,
yep.
Like you said, we're going to Philly for the Super Bowl, that'd be
that'll never happen.
They take it to the wrong place, but they'd let them out of their car and they'd throw a full beer at their head too. Awful.
These people are just savages.
So we'll see. Minnesota.
Who cares?
What kind of city are you? Kawhi Leonard, who put this up?
I did. I put up the fact that Kawhi Leonard might be thinking about asking the Spurs to trade him. Did you guys hear this?
But don't you have to play?
Because that would be a nice
how much
requirement.
of an NBA story is this? Because this is legitimately, you didn't make this language up. Kawhi Leonard actually may be thinking about asking the Spurs to trade him.
Because they aren't going to surround him with players to win. They're only the Spurs and have been winning for 20 straight years. But he's mad. I think I'm done. I think I'm done with the NBA. I think they should contract all the teams, take the 44, 45 best players, put them all on 4 teams, and just those 4 teams battle it out for 40 games.
And it's going to be called the XBA.
Welcome to the XBA.
There are no fouls.
I'm done with these babies. You can't win in a place. You can't start to build a culture in a place overnight, and nobody wants to be the guy to do it. They all want to go with their friend that they played on the banana boat with. And
this is the fucking millennial issue rearing its ugly head in sports.
Yeah, and it's fucking LeBron, man. It all starts.
Hey, LeBron James picked Kyrie Irving on the All-Star team. He picked him on his roster.
Oh, yeah, I'm
nice.
sure.
You know what would have been awesome if it was televised and we saw it.
Well, you know, maybe they didn't televise it so ESPN could have the breaking news headline with a picture of KD and LeBron next to each other. So I was like, oh my God, who got traded? They're playing together now? No, they're playing together in a fucking NBA All-Star game.
But it also wouldn't surprise you if just somewhere like LeBron was able to swing some trade for KD for a bag of balls and J.R. Smith's bong. The league just bends over for
with a bunch of hush money.
Yeah. And so
it's ridiculous. It's on breaking news. It's that's not news.
Well, ESPN's like a dead fish. So, anything is breaking. Anything that has LeBron's name in it's breaking news. But the whole Kawhi Leonard thing, I just don't. First of all, the guy's not played. Okay, he's been out for 25 games this year.
Mm-hmm.
So stop. First of all, even if you wanted to be traded, they're not going to sell low. They're just not doing it.
Right. It was an excellent hit on a first-round draft pick.
Right. So stop. Just stop. And number 2, to your point, Brett, nobody wants to put the work in. He didn't even have to put the work in. The work is done.
They're really, they're not a bad team. They're not, are they going to beat the Warriors? Probably not. But figure it out, man.
Yeah, but you want to talk about a guy that has every right to demand a trade that doesn't, that's put in work and the team hasn't. How about freaking the Greek Freak? They just fired his head coach. He's in fucking Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And this guy's over there doing nothing but trying to build a franchise into something great. He was angry that they fired his coach that he liked. I mean, that to me, if I heard he wanted a trade, no problem. But Kawhi Leonard, shut the fuck up. Just shut up.
I'd love to get some ad space in Park Slope for a billboard for the Greek Freak, and maybe we could buy him like a nice little apartment and have him come to Brooklyn. What do you think, Nikki?
Hell yeah. Let's go.
Brooklyn in the house.
Yuck.
Fucking Nets.
Yuck.
Suck.
At least they're exciting.
More LeBron. More LeBron.
Yeah. So we are talking about LeBron so much that the LeBrons held a players-only meeting earlier this week before a game against the Spurs to kind of try and right the ship. And then they
LeBrons. I see what you did there.
See that? You see that?
I'm the jelly, though. I'm the jelly.
Yeah, you are the jelly. And they go out and they get beat by the Spurs. And it's so annoying because this is the same storyline every season. And they somehow manage to always pin it on Kevin Love.
Right.
And I don't get it. Like, what's he doing? I don't really watch the LeBrons all that much.
What else would you pin it on if you were them?
I don't know.
He's white.
The fact that not one person on that team plays defense.
How about Dwayne Wade?
Isaiah Thomas, they talked about how Isaiah Thomas's defense is so much worse than Kyrie Irving's that they didn't even take that into account when they traded for him, and they're just suffering from it so badly.
It's so glaringly obvious. So glaringly obvious.
This conversation, along with my recent gambling losses on the National Basketball Association, have led me back to the conclusion that I've always been at.
Hey, Yempo, how do you feel about
NBA fucking sucks.
Isaiah Thomas, you know how like when you go to the movie theater, they have those like big stand-up things for the movies that are coming out, like the big like
cardboard cutouts.
That's legitimately him on the defensive side.
He's awful. He's not even trying.
He makes Derrick Rose look like Gary Payton. It's unbelievable. And he's a really dynamic offensive player. So I guess you deal with it because that's what this league does. But he just does not play two ways. He doesn't.
They got 104. Enos Cantor trolled him on Twitter because they got 148 points put up against them.
Yeah.
The other night.
They're talking about going out and getting Hill from Sacramento.
Yeah.
Just so they can put Isaiah Thomas on like the most non-offensive minded player on the other team.
I love how all these teams have like one good player. Like a Sacramento team has been bad for so long. They have a good player, and then everyone just like rapes and pillages their team. They're like, "We'll take your good player and take 3 of our highest contracts." And here you go.
There's no parity in the league. It's just so top heavy. It's the most predictable league.
They that conversation. Yeah, the team that stinks is like, totally. Yeah, that makes
perfect. Give me some aging guys on a high contract. That's okay. We got this. Our fan base is going to be into this.
And Scott Boras had the nerve today to complain about baseball and their salary problem. Basketball's way worse.
What was it? I didn't hear what he said.
Oh, all right. Basically, the crux of Scott Boras' argument is the non-competitiveness of the owners currently is clearly hurting his bottom line because they won't sign his clients.
His bottom line.
Yes.
Like he mentioned him specifically.
No, he didn't say me. He said my clients. He's doing a disservice to his clients, but that means him. By not paying, by operating under these quote unquote frugal standards this offseason. And he is probably
who's his highest profile client in this
Brock Lesnar.
Oh my God, Nick, take a break.
I seriously don't know.
Take a 30.
I don't know either. I mean, I know he's got what's his name? Harper, right? Harper.
A-Rod.
Harper's one of his guys. That's why he was kind of unhappy that Stanton went to the Yankees.
He's got guys like he had used to have
hot guys.
He's got Max Scherzer. He still has Jacoby Ellsbury on that ridiculous deal.
Oh my God.
He has Steven Strasburg.
Dude, hold on a second. Before we go any further, I think that Nick is turning into Vince McMahon as he drinks this Tahoe up. It's like,
Tahoe deep.
Can you get Tahoe down and fucking dial it down?
It's not even.
It's Tahoe deep.
Boris.
It's not even who he represents, Jeff. It's the insane amount of people that he represents.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the entire. I'm looking here, 2, 4, 6, 8. There's probably 75 major league players.
Okay, so he's a good agent.
He's like what David Falk was to the NBA in the Jordan era. Like David Falk represented every single NBA player.
Decent guy.
And Drew Rosenhaus in the NFL.
Right.
Okay. Those are all the same guys. All right. But if you're going to be the person who literally, and it's his job to sign his players to the most money possible, but in doing that cripples franchises for
Right.
years to come and forces teams to raise ticket prices, raise concession prices, overcharge for parking, then you don't have the right to turn around and be like, you're hurting baseball in the game by not signing my guys. Shut up.
Are you Millie from Minnesota?
Is there something wrong? Are we in a disconnect tonight? Because like I'm not getting any of your references and you're not getting any of mine. What's going on?
Fuck Millie.
Must be the collared shirt throwing him off.
It must be. It
Came
must-
from lecturing, Nick.
Yeah, lecturing your wife about inviting her folks over.
He's a
What kind
professional.
of couch to get?
But Nick, do you think that based on that Boris stuff, that like Jeter may have a point when he was crying, poverty?
I don't think so. I mean, when these owners take these
Who cares? Oh, you guys just don't learn, do you?
There was like a 2-second delay, Jeff, where I was really like, oh my God, he's going to let him answer this. Like I knew the setup. I caught it. And I was like, oh my God, he's going to let him speak.
I missed last week. I'm a little off my game.
For those of you that are watching on Facebook, in which I'm not checking the feed, you can check and see if anybody commented. But I even did like a shot fake. Like I like leaned back, put my hand behind my head, and then he started answering. And I was like, "You sucker!"
You went for the Cobra, the power move where you put your hands behind your back.
That's right. Somebody's got to jump in here because I don't understand what this bullet on the rundown.
Oh, stop. You know who it is and what it is. It's a big weekend in sports.
Okay.
NHL All-Star and the Pro Bowl. Two of the worst events of all time.
Why is this on here? Who the hell put this on here?
It should definitely not be a topic bullet.
Yeah, no, it's a separate topic.
No, that's got its own bullet. It's totally wrong.
It's like Supreme Court case, Plessy versus Ferguson. Separate is inherently equal. We're going to talk about it.
No, we're not.
Okay, we'll do it quick. What are you going to watch? And you can't say neither. Because you're going to tune into something.
No, I'm not.
Whether it's the NHL skills competition or the actual game on Sunday, or the NFL attempt at a skills competition or the actual Pro Bowl, what are you more inclined to watch? Brett.
How about this? Read a book.
No, not your turn. Brett.
Obviously, I'm more inclined to watch the NHL All-Star game.
Of course you are, because you're a good man.
It's aside from the fact that they've gone a little weird with their tournament play, it's a pretty good representation of an All-Star game where the Pro Bowl is not football.
Okay.
The Pro Bowl is two-hand touch.
All right, Nick, go ahead.
NHL.
Jeff?
If I was going to watch anything, the only thing that has any interest to me right now is to see what the NFL does with that skills challenge, because I know what the other games are.
Did you watch it last year? The skills thing they did?
The NFL?
Yeah.
I didn't even know they did it. So
I didn't either. I kind of caught the tail end of it. They did shit like dropping a ball 50 yards in the air from a drone and like trying to like it had potential, but it's not like the NHL skills
I'm
competition.
interested in, like, do you remember when we were younger, and this predates Nick, they had like that NFL quarterbacks club?
Yeah, that was good shit.
Like that's what I'd be into. I'd be into watching
That's in there.
the best quarterbacks in the league, like, try to
That's
hit.
in there. They got to hit the moving targets.
Yeah, try and hit a tire from 70 yards away. It's
Right,
fun.
that to me is cool. You know what I mean? So
Or
I
maybe
would-
they could hit like Brett's like love handle and then my like love handle on the other side.
Right.
Like
Right.
that's a tire, spare tire.
with one ball.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would watch that, but I don't really have any interest in either game. I mean, the only reason I would watch the NHL is to watch Kid Rock.
Of course.
Let's gonna let that one hang out there. Who cares? All right, we had one more. Who cares?
All right, good. Super Bowl.
And we're gonna have a couple weeks to talk about this, so we can just do a cursory review of what kind of where we're sitting right now.
Yeah,
This is the media day segment.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, actually, I'm working on our credentials for Radio Row, so I hope you guys got a flight to Mini.
I don't know
Okay,
if you know
great.
this. Pop quiz. Do you know who started Radio Row?
I did. I was number one. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Me and Doug, we used to go all the way out to Miami, and we'd sit in an office, and there'd be nobody there. And Joe Montana walked in one day, and we were like, "Hey, Joe, you want to sit down?"
Don't forget to tell the listeners it wasn't even called Radio Row back then.
No, it was just called Row.
Roe v. Wade.
And my wife used to come
Sorry,
down.
my wife.
She used to have a bunch of baked goods, so we used to call it Row. And then a bunch of other morons showed up, and my dad.
Oh, that That bit right there will never ever get old, and it is epic in my own mind. It's epic.
All right, run through this. What do we got? You want to talk about the early line first?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm going to do a couple lines, and then I'll talk about the line. Hey, babe.
Miss you.
Miss college. Early line, Pats -5. Is that too much?
Considering all the Pats Super Bowls, I would say yes.
You think Gronk?
Oh gosh,
is Gronk set to play, or we don't know yet? It's too early.
Playing. Come on.
There's no way that Robo Gronk's not playing.
First of all, I think there's a high good chance he plays. Secondly, if you think Bill Belichick's going to tell you the status of Gronkowski,
Yeah, no.
Well, he told you to look at the injury report.
any millisecond before the game, then you're crazy.
You know what? Maybe instead of focusing on the Super Bowl, we should just go back and talk about the AFC and the NFC Championship games real quick. Because I just want to say what happened with the AFC Championship game and all that ridiculousness leading up with Tom Brady's hand was the most horrific 20 minutes of TV I've ever watched pregame ever in my life. It's like Jim Nantz and Tony Romo looking for a zoom in on Tom Brady's hand.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady basically saying, "Get the fuck out of my way."
It's a great story. It's a win-win for them to focus on it, though. Okay?
No, it's not.
If he does it,
Nobody wins.
Well, for me it is. But if he wins the game, he wins the game, and you add to his legend. If he loses the game,
They are who we thought they were.
for a week after, you can just dissect highlights of incompletions during that game and go and do the little toner. Jeff, he missed him.
I can't stand him.
You know,
he
you
dies. He dies.
and you could just look at his incompletions and just be like, see, that hand affected him. If he was just healthy, they would. So it creates storyline both ways. It's a win-win for them to talk about it.
It was brutal. It was brutal.
It was loose.
But what the other thing that was not brutal, aside from my early decisions on gambling on that game, I had the Pats -9, and then when the line moved down to 7, I double bought. I doubled down. So I'm like, if they're going to win by 9, they're going to win by 7. Well, my trusty friend.
You should have a toilet soundbite for that.
Yeah, hold on. My trusty friend, the in-game money line, he reared his ugly head when the Jags went up 14-3. Yours truly hopped on the live money line, and that's how I made it.
John Anthony here. I'm the $1 million man with a $1 billion plan.
Cut it short.
Wall Street to Tokyo to Hollywood. All your big money is going to stay and play with me. That's right.
Money.
$1 million man.
Whatever, yeah, Paul.
You know what I like about your gambling advice segment? I like that your advice basically boils down to the fact that, hey, if you lose this bet, just start betting in the game to cover it. Just keep betting.
It's a great strategy. I mean, it hasn't failed them yet, right?
It's actually been my bailout. It's been my government bailout the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, just keep
because
betting.
I could have lost so much money, but I ended up winning it back and basically netting it out. The in-game is great. I hit the in-game Eagles over 31 points. I figured they were going to score at least 10 more points at halftime. Winner!
Yempo has the same philosophy when he takes his kids to the beach. He digs a nice big hole and he puts his kids in. Then the ocean comes along and fills the hole. He just throws his daughter the shovel and goes, just keep digging. Eventually you'll get out of the hole. It's fine. Totally fine.
KB, just keep
Really? Really? There's a difference between being a bad dad and a bad gambler. I'm still trying to figure out what it is.
Sometimes the line is very blurry.
I thought that was an incredible football game, and yet again, the Jaguars proved the total theory about coaches just brains melting in important situations.
All I know is I was watching that game and I'm texting. I'm on a text thread with my brother and two other, and Anthony and another Jet fan, and I'm just texting back and forth. I'm like, I can't believe that the formula that we tried to use to get to the Super Bowl is going to work for the fucking Jacksonville Jaguars, and it didn't work for us. So part of me was not so upset that they didn't win that game, because it would have been depressing to watch that formula of a great defense and a turd quarterback get to the Super Bowl. But that being said, now I got to root for the Eagles, which is
no, you don't. You can just root for the stadium implosion. That's what I always do.
Nah, because I don't want the good people of Minnesota to die.
That's fair.
It's all business pricks anyway.
Well, this is why you always fade Jeff's picks, because Jeff was cocksure about the Vikings.
Oh yeah, big time.
And that couldn't have been more wrong.
No, you got to pick the opposite of what I said.
That's what I call. That's called fading your picks.
Yeah, like I'm gonna stick strong with them. But whatever.
Yeah, most people fade my picks. Now I'm just gonna start fading you.
True. Good story.
Cool story, Hansel.
Anything else you want to talk about in Radio Row week?
I don't know. Nick Foles really going to beat the Pats? I don't think so. But you know what? I've had enough. You know what? We're going to have a lot of talk about this next week. So maybe we should just curb it.
Next week's show is going to be big on it. So
okay.
Big news today. It was kind of expected. Reported first here on Low and Outside. The XFL is coming back. Vince McMahon held a press conference today. Did any of you see any of it or no?
Yes.
I saw the 1 minute 37 condensed.
Okay. You saw it too, Nick?
Yes.
So Nick, remember when we would do our news shows?
Yes.
Yes. Right? Get the hell out of here, Yempo.
No, you just kept saying yes like an asshole 3 times.
Legitimately, the green screen technology that Vince McMahon used today for his press conference was something that I used in my class in high school. Like it was
on a Friday morning.
It was kind of sad. 22-minute press conference. I have it boiled down to 5. Do we want to listen to all of it, or
Nah, just put it to like a minute.
Yeah, give me the first minute.
I'll play it and you cut it. You just say enough when you've had enough. How's that sound?
All right.
I'll give you the X.
Ladies.
All right, enough.
Vince McMahon.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today's press conference. The new XFL will kick off in 2020.
Stop. Pause.
We're going to give the game of football.
What? How many fucking packs of Marlboros has he smoked in the last 10 years? Sounds like he's hacking up a lung. All right, go ahead.
Back to fans. I'm sure everyone has a lot of questions for me, but I also have a lot of questions for you. In fact, I'm going to ask a lot of questions and listen to players, coaches. We're going to listen to medical experts, technology executives, members of the media, and anyone else who understands and loves the game.
Yeah, right.
But most importantly, we're going to be listening to fans.
How much is that just a suck it, Roger Goodell?
Who wrote that?
Medical experts is the best part.
What fucking schmuck wrote that for him?
I love.
We're gonna listen to medical doctors. We're gonna listen to professionals.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna listen to cheerleaders, and we're gonna listen to your 2-year-old daughter because this is about the game. But there's gonna be no gimmicks. Wait, what? You just fucking said this whole thing is a goddamn gimmick. Go ahead.
If you could reimagine the game of professional football, would you, for instance, eliminate halftime?
Gimmick.
Would you, for instance, eliminate water?
Would you, for instance, do a line at halftime?
Let's get rid of helmets.
No, he's going the other way with that, by the way.
Commercial breaks. Would the game of football be faster? Would the rules be simpler? The new XFL will be
Hold on. What's so difficult about the rules in the NFL?
Are you kidding?
Well, aside from the whole catch garbage bullshit, are the simplistic rules of the game that difficult? You get 4 downs, 10 yards.
You know he's specifically talking about that. You know he's talking about shitty challenges that coaches throw out that take 10 minutes.
And what's a pass interference and all that bullshit?
This guy, I said it when we talked about it. I love it. I love this move. I think this guy's brilliant. I think there are 2 greatest showmen in the history of mankind are P.T. Barnum and Vince McMahon. And I am so excited for what this guy has.
I'm getting season tickets.
All right, let's go. Hold on. Listen.
You like to see and less of the things you don't. And no doubt, a lot of innovations along the way.
A lot of innovation.
We will present a shorter, faster paced, family friendly, and easier to understand.
Family friendly.
Don't get me wrong, it's still football, but it's professional football reimagined.
What does that mean? Wait, hold on. You can't say you've asked medical experts and then say it's the football we imagined. Like, that means you're going to kill people and have no repercussions for any sort of injuries?
No, it's family friendly, Nick.
Oh, okay.
It's professional football.
So when they zoom in on when they zoom in on the cheerleader's tits, I guess that's all family friendly.
What do you think reimagined is? Do you think they everybody comes out to their own theme music?
I want to ask you seriously. The headlines all said XFL is coming back in 2020 with less gimmicks, but everything he just said was basically a fucking gimmick.
All right, so right now it goes to a conference calls with a bunch of reporters from all over the country. So
Francesa?
couple of things. No,
Could you imagine those two talking to each other?
Here's which is
I can actually.
What would it sound like?
Well, give me a topic. What would they be talking about?
I don't know. Reimagining. What would you get rid of from today's game? What would you like to see, Mike, in today's game of the XFL?
We got Vince in Stanford online. What's up, Vince?
Yeah, hey Mike. I stepped on your toes. You have conjunctivitis.
Get it right. We intend to start conservatively with 8 teams, 40-man rosters,
2 semifinals, and a championship.
2 semifinals, and of course, a championship game.
And then I'll fight to the death.
Now, what about the players? As you know, there's a wealth of talented players to draw from, but in the XFL, the quality of the human being is going to be as important as the quality.
Yeah, okay.
So, no, he goes on to say, even if you've had a DUI, you can't play in this league.
Well, what about Manziel?
He tweeted
That's
him.
why he's not allowed to play.
Manziel tweeted him. He was like, XFL at Vince McMahon.
Johnny Football, you're out.
He's perfect.
Listen, Johnny Football maybe couldn't play in the XFL, but he could definitely be in the WWE.
He's fired.
Any games will be multi-platform, which will allow us to engage fans and customize the viewing experience in ways that were never imaginable just a few years ago.
He's right on there.
You'll be able
He is.
to NFL on big screens, mobile devices, and everything in between. Thank you again for joining us. We appreciate your interest, and if you have any ideas, please send them along our way because we are listening.
So there's more, but my take there is, if you have any ideas, please send them our way. We're listening. That could either be, we really want your opinion, or we have no fucking idea what we're going to do. So please tell us what you want to say.
I think it's both. I definitely think there's both of that. Right? Isn't one of Vince's successes with WWE the fact that they listen to fans and they pivot accordingly a lot of times with wrestlers. Now, certainly that not every storyline pivots to the way fans want or desire, but they listen to their fans.
And you know what? In that same vein, we should start to listen to ours. And Chris Gannon has told us that you definitely need collar stays, Brett. I'd love for you to maybe have some collar stays for the next week's show. Okay.
Okay, I'll get them.
He did have a good line though. He said, "Can you imagine the person that has to read those emails about what fans want?"
Oh God.
Oh, we should do our own wish list for the XFL and run it. We'll do it next week.
No, you know what I think we should do? I think we should do next week. Mike Francesa reads emails to the XFL.
Beautiful. I'll start writing.
So you draft them, and then Mike Francesa will read them.
Oh God.
We got a couple more things. This is where they start to take the calls.
Well, I think the most important thing that we learned with the older XFL and now the new XFL.
Yeah, what did you learn from the failure?
Quality of the play. Quite frankly, we only had a very short time in the past to put everything together. We have 2 years now to really get it right. It's the quality of the play.
That's not a long time.
Really, Vince? The quality of the play was not good in the last XFL.
Well, again, as we reimagine the game, I think we reimagine as well the way that we distribute the game. I think it's important to consider the standard way of doing this. I think it's also important to consider new ways. So it's probably going to be a combination of any number of
streaming and
forms of
broadcast.
presentation.
Yeah, they'd be dumb to not stream.
Be the CEO and chairman of the board of WWE.
So he's not leaving WWE.
Thank you for asking. There will be no crossover whatsoever in terms of talent or anything like that from WWE to the new XFL. Quite frankly,
there is no talent in the WWE.
See of me in terms of being out front. I don't intend to be out in front. We're going to hire people who really know what they're doing, experienced executives who will be out in front. It won't be me.
So who do you think? I mean, if he's saying it's not going to be him that's out in front of the league, that they're going to hire, professionals. So clearly they're going to try to pillage some NFL talent, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess Michael Irvin's available. Marshall Faulk's available.
Michael Irvin, criminal. He's not allowed.
Oh.
Marshall Faulk, not a good guy. He's not allowed.
TJ and the Berm, the Swami.
Whoop.
Oh, I got nostalgic. He said
Barstool Sports pairs up with XFL.
Ooh.
Okay.
Low and outside, left in the dust.
How about I call it the number one game? How about that? Okay.
Francesa and Mad Dog reunited to
Francesa and Bill Simmons call the game.
Tim Tebow back to pass, and it's incomplete.
Tebow could play in this league.
Can we just acknowledge the preposterousness of this entire scenario?
It's not preposterous. I'm excited. I am excited.
You're a child.
Oh man, I'm 40.
I'm 35. If that was a dig at me,
It'll start end of January, early February, and play through. One is not exactly a spring league,
which is, I think, the biggest mistake.
100%. You already outlined it last time.
I actually, because I saw that they're doing 10 games. So if you had started in April, if you start in April, which is still kind of cold, but if you start in April and you play 10 games, a semifinal and a final, that'll bring you. You could hold your final game, which, as you can see, red, white, and blue everywhere. You could hold your final game on the 4th of July every year. You can't tell me that wouldn't work. That would work.
You're going head to head with the Arena League, which
Oh yeah.
Don't want to do that.
Your story.
It'll be single entity. We're not going to have the franchise model, and we're way away from announcing cities. There's going to be a lot of research and what have you as far as cities doing, and that'll be something to announce in the future.
Research and what have you.
President Trump support this in any way, even if it's just
he's laughing
with statements? And can you speak to San Diego as a potential market?
I have no idea whether or not President Trump will support this, and let me, this is an opportunity for me to say that as far as our league is concerned, it'll have nothing to do with politics, absolutely nothing, and nothing to do with social issues either. We're there to play football. We want really good football, and I think that's what fans want as well. When they tune in, I don't know that they want to be dealing with political issues and things of that nature. They want good football. That's what.
How bad did he want to just acknowledge? We don't need any, the Black Panther things and the knees and all that shit and arm in arm.
Not for nothing, but that sounded like President Trump. Like we don't want to deal with that. We just want good football. Okay, just good football.
Well, they're boys. They're boys. All right, last 30 seconds.
Well, I think this. That one of the things when I said the quality of human being is very important, and just as important as the quality of the player. What I mean by that is you want someone who does not have any criminality whatsoever associated with it. And in the XFL, even if you have a DUI, you will not.
No thugs.
The XFL. So that would probably eliminate some of them. Not all play. He could very well play.
Who?
That would eliminate some of them, yeah.
Tim Tebow.
Oh my God, this is just mind-boggling. This hurts my head.
I think it's gonna work.
Me too.
It's gonna work for the same reason that Trump's president. The middle of this country is
and
mumbling idiots who's gonna buy into this.
Exactly. And I don't
No
understand
offense to
how
our listeners in Nebraska, Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, Texas, Oklahoma.
We get it.
Kansas.
We get it.
Oklahoma, JR in the house.
Just say red states, and it's easier.
No Jim Ross tonight.
I can't. I don't even. I'm not doing it.
It's gonna work, Jeff. You're right. It's different from the last time around.
Okay, I'm gonna say it's not gonna work, and I'm gonna get a futures bet with you here.
Well, we need to define what work is.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So is it gonna last more than the first one? Only lasted 1 year, right?
Over under 1.5.
Okay. You're like Vegas. I'm gonna take the. Oh man, that's tough. I feel like this could get 2. It could get 2, but I don't see much more than 2.
So you're gonna take the over.
Yeah, because you're Vegas, and that was a really good line.
We're all gonna take the over. There's no way he doesn't at least beat what the last one
so
was.
2.5.
Exactly.
So if you're setting it at 2.5, that's saying it's gonna last 3 years.
I'm taking the under, and I'll bet you my daughter's 529 against your 529.
I'm not gonna do that at all. That's horribly irresponsible.
Well, that's marginally irresponsible, but okay.
You don't know how much is in my.
Nikki doesn't even know what a 529 is. He's like,
okay.
like a meal.
I have a 401k right now.
Isn't that like a meal at Taco Bell?
I have a 401.
Good job, Nick.
Here's the only reason why I don't know if it'll last 3 years. Right. Vince McMahon is old. So, he's pumping $100 million of his own money into this thing. It's not going to launch for another 2 years, and then it's going to run for 3 years. That's 5 years from now. That puts him like close to 80 years old.
That puts him close to death.
He's got so much HGH pumped in him. He's going to be fine.
I'm with Brett on this.
Don't you worry about Vince.
He looks like he's like 55.
But what's the point?
He doesn't look good. I'm sorry. He doesn't look good. I saw him on Raw 25 this last week. He looked like he was going to drop dead.
He took a stone cold stunner, and he survived.
Yeah, what a silly goose for falling for the stunner again.
There's some
Steve Austin still kills. It's like
there are some poignant.
It was awesome.
There are some poignant tidbits in that press conference. Aside from the fact that he's just blatantly going after the NFL and all the garbage that's ensued at the NFL the last couple of years, it's going to be really interesting to see how much backtracking he's going to have to do here, because he basically just painted the picture for a league that's going to be really hard to create without acquiescing on a couple of the things he mentioned.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't like what kind of product is going to end up on the this. There's no way there's no politically correct way for me to like phrase this. I don't know how to.
What bothers me is I watched the whole sloppy press conference with the Q&A. Not a single reporter asked anything about an age limit. How in the hell are you a professional sports reporter and you don't ask a single question about?
Probably because no one's thinking about it.
Well, then they're idiots.
Why are you thinking about it?
Because we talked about it on this show a month ago.
I must have been blacked out.
We talked about how they might go head to head with college football, and instead of kids going to play college football, they would go to this XFL and monetize their name. And
got it. You mean I'm thinking age limit the other side. You're talking about entry age limit.
Entry age limit. He could go to Texas and just pillage the entire state of Texas high school football. Here, come here and make money on your name for 3 years, and then
go sign professionally.
Do whatever you want.
And is not the NFL lacking for a developmental league?
Well, he said that we're not going to be a developmental league for it. But
yeah, okay.
Is he going to give a shit if they churn out money hand over fist if the kids leave? What is he?
Not if they get a DUI on their way out the door. Or if they're hanging out the Dolphins coach.
Hey babe, miss you. Thinking about you. How about me going to the XFL?
That was good form, Nick.
I just graduated college.
Yeah, I graduated college, but I build houses. I'm a good boy.
3 years. You say the over under is 2.5. You would take the under.
Yeah, I'm 2.
Nick.
Over.
Brett.
I'm taking the over. Yeah.
I could definitely see 3 years of this league. I would have to think hard about year 4 and 5. I wouldn't sure I would go that far.
But you would take the over on 2.5.
Yes.
This is the perfect time. I think this is the perfect time to launch a league like this.
It is.
I don't know. That 2.5 line is tricky. Because 1.5, I'm taking the over. 2.5, it's like I don't know that it's gonna last.
You have to commit to being an XFL fan. Like you have to root for the league if you're gonna take the over at 2.5.
I'm gonna be a season ticket holder.
Where do you think they're gonna be?
It's a bad idea, Nick. I just want to tell you that.
The Meadowlands.
What cities do you think they're gonna be at?
Well, they're not gonna. They're definitely gonna be in the tri-state area. They have to.
Yeah,
they'll do the Meadowlands.
But is it going to be like
probably DC? Probably DC.
Yeah, I don't know. They'll definitely do like the LA West Coast thing. They'll definitely do Chicago.
They'll do like a Texas, do Chicago.
Yeah,
they'll do a Florida.
They can do a Hershey. Hershey has a stadium.
Well, they said they're doing 8.
The Hershey Bears.
They're doing 8 teams, so they're not going to put it in. I would imagine they're not going to put it in very small markets.
I would think they're going to put the biggest cities in the country and just kind of work from there.
You need to play to your demographic. Wherever you're going to sell is where you need to go.
All right,
so you can't worry about
right in the middle of the country. Those put Oklahoma.
Exactly. If there's a team in Iowa,
I want these simple rules.
The Kentucky footballers.
I ain't want taking no knees on the field.
Now, where's my sister? I want to fuck.
For that reason.
Where's my sister? Where's my sister wife?
Oh my gosh, this has gone sideways.
Honey boo boo.
I'm sorry. Was that?
They're in Georgia, by the way.
Whatever. Like it matters.
Stereotyping.
Anyone got any whiskey? My tooth fell out. It's hurting.
From the guy wearing a Jameson shirt.
Saying that people in flyover states F their sisters.
You have no room to talk about
True.
flyovers. You won't get on a plane.
Yeah. I'm gonna drive. I'm gonna drive 8 days to California because I'm an asshole. When I can get on.
Are you driving to Minneapolis, Brett?
I've never driven to California.
You drove to Ottawa. You drove to Florida.
I drove to Florida. because
Ottawa's
I go to-
nowhere near here.
It's not that bad, Nikki. It's like 8 hours.
I think when they announce the XFL locations, you should plan a road trip to hit
Oh.
XFL game in every stadium.
I'm so in. Oh wait, I'm gonna have 3 kids. I'm out.
Yeah, you are so down.
I'm so fucked.
All right, so we got 3 guys that take the over of 2.5, and 1 guy takes the under. Hit us up on social media and tell us. We'll post a poll on
At Low and Outside
on Twitter at Low Outside Sport. Actually, close.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not good at the socials means.
At Turn 2 podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Well, listen, I told you I had to go because I have a old man hockey game, and I certainly cannot be part of this next portion of the conversation because I will go fucking off the rails. So I bid you adieu, and as Jerry Boyle would say, see ya.
Okay, great, good talk. All right, how much attention do we really want to pay to this bullet here?
Not much.
I do, but I also don't because I feel that I could possibly incriminate myself in the future. The fact that like something I say about this guy could possibly be played at my trial in the future. Because if I ever found somebody that touched my daughter like that, I'd kill them with my own hands. So I'll have to. It'll probably it might happen, and then I'll be sitting in the courtroom and I'll be like, I didn't do it. And they'll be like, oh really? Because listen to this audio clip. And then I'll be fucked.
Yeah,
that would be our breaking point. I think, Low and Outside. I think that'd be our launch point if we're getting played in a federal court.
That'd be great press for you guys. Terrible for me. I'll be behind bars.
Here's the thing, and I had this conversation with a buddy of mine at work who had a daughter. We had daughters a week apart last year. He said, I think if one of those fathers of those girls in the courtroom, while that guy was sitting there giving his statement, took out a shotgun and shot the guy in the courtroom, I think that there would be a public outcry to not throw that guy in jail. So
yeah,
like I'm not entirely convinced that if you killed somebody that touched your daughter in that kind of a way, that you wouldn't just stand up there and be like, no, I shot the son of a bitch.
Yeah,
and then everybody would be like, yeah, we should probably go a little bit lenient on this guy. I mean, he was just being a good dad.
I feel terrible saying that. Like that's not like a thing. Like I'm cool. Like I'm not cool with murdering people. Like honestly, but I
actually said to somebody today that if that ever happened to me, I would invoke some like Old Testament wrath. Like I'd break out my Jewish God. I would say goodbye to my Jesus God and just bring out the plague on all of your houses. I'm gonna, eye for eye. Like I am coming after you. Like with great vengeance and furious anger.
Yeah.
That type of thing. Like Samuel L. Jackson type of shit, I
think that, the thing that was most disturbing to me was like, it's like the judge even said it. This guy was meticulous in what he did. And it was like an organized, knowing disturbance that he was going through with these girls over and over. It wasn't a one-time thing. It was like he was planning it. He was very, kind of under the radar with everything. It was disgusting.
160 victims.
I mean, that is
There's
just
more than that. There's more than that.
I mean, that is
160 confirmed victims. It's crazy.
Anyone associated with that gymnastics organization should be canned and never have a job again, to be honest.
That and the university.
Yeah.
They're
president stepped down. Yes.
That's all right. Good, but there's more.
Yeah.
There's more people that protected him. And like I said, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this bullet because it incites
just rage.
Absolute rage inside of me.
My issue, if you want to compare it to some of the other crap that goes on in sports, like, the whole thing with Rick Pitino and then Louisville, and then you go all the way back to Penn State and Sandusky, like all these things got so much play. And there was so much collateral damage that was talked about, that was demanded, that was screamed from, the rafters. And everybody universally agrees this guy's a creep and what he did was horrible. But there really hasn't been this public outcry for USA, Olympic Committee, or USA Gymnastics to really change. I mean, I'm sure people want it to, but it hasn't been as loud as those other situations. It just hasn't. And I think that's kind of embarrassing on our country's part.
We didn't stop hearing the phrases Penn State, Jerry Sandusky, Joe Paterno for 2 years.
Right.
Every day.
Rightfully so.
And rightfully so. Yeah, I'm not comparing. I'm not doing an apples to oranges thing in terms of that. I'm just saying you're right, Jeff. I texted you last week and I said,
why aren't we talking about it?
Why aren't we talking about this?
Yeah.
I felt like I didn't hear it.
Well, I brought it up here. I mean, I ranted about it on here, on the show.
Yes, you did. You did. Yeah, you did. And a while before I even texted you that, I meant like, I think you did it as like a closing bit.
Yeah,
like
I did.
And this is insane. Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, look, hopefully it's a chapter that can close and realistically, from my perspective as a parent of a very young daughter who, certainly isn't a gymnast because she's just learning how to, run around. Pay attention to where your kids are. And I understand the lure of allowing your kid to chase their dreams and go for a gold medal can be very attractive. But at the same token, when an organization tells you you can't stay in a hotel with your kid and you can't have contact with your kid and you have certain ways that you can and cannot interact with your child, you tell that organization to go fuck themselves. And if that means your kid's angry at you for the rest of your life because you don't get to go for a gold medal, then I think you deal with that. That's just my take.
Did you hear about the one victim who had told her dad early on and her father refused to believe her? And then finally, years later, after she was an adult, she told him and he killed himself.
That's horrible. There's nothing worse.
I know. It's just the damage, the damage that guy fucking recklessly caused for years.
Yeah.
I'm
it's
done.
One of those things that you could honestly relate to castration, right? Like if somebody like publicly cut his penis off, you wouldn't flinch.
I would be asking.
I suggested that with a rusty butter knife.
I'd be disappointed that that's all that happened to him.
Well, I mean, like at the start, I don't know. Anyway, the last bullet we have here tonight, to segue beautifully out of that horrible story, Nick has apparently some large announcement. Is that what do we have here? A big announcement.
Very big announcement.
He wants to make live on air. So, Nick, the microphone is yours.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are watching right now. I hope it's at least 5.
I think it's 1.
A 1.
Or 2? Yeah, 2.
Okay, 2. So, I've done a lot of thinking recently, and I've had this feeling deep inside of me. I'm just itching to play some baseball, and I've talked this over with my family. I've talked this over with my agent, and I am coming out of retirement, and I'm going to be playing in the New Jersey Amateur Baseball League this spring. Me and my agent were able to, get a deal done with the league. Got some good compensation. I just, I felt like I couldn't pass up the money. They were kind of chasing after me. So it's one of those things where my family's behind me. They're supporting me, and I'm going to make another run at playing baseball. So I'm very excited about that.
And we're very proud of you.
Thank you.
That's years of dedication. That's years of hard work. That's not giving up on your dreams. And that just goes to show, for anybody out there that's listening that even has younger kids, take a look at this man and what he's been able to do and how he's been able to, morph his life into this type of situation for him. So, Nick, I have nothing to say. I wish you the best of luck, man. I'll be watching the game, streaming them online every time, every night. I'll try and do split screens. Maybe I'll get a second television so I could go Yankees and New Jersey Amateur Baseball League. I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, I was hanging out with the Dolphins coach earlier in the fall, doing some things I regret, and I've cleaned myself up, and I'm ready to go back at it.
Where exactly does the New Jersey Amateurs Baseball League play? Like,
it's Sussex County, Morris County, Bergen County, anywhere you want to go.
Are you attached to a specific team? Like, have you?
Right now, I'm a free agent, and I'm working on some deals. Right now, my agent's making some deals, making some calls. See what goes on.
I have sent word, and I know you just made the announcement, and you're committed, so that's good. But I also know that we never know where the future might take you. Your compensation, you should be compensated fairly for what you produce. I don't know if that league is willing to offer it to you. But I did send word to your agent via our vice president of softball operations and our general manager over at the South Orange men's modified softball league. That if you pick up the phone, we'll answer. And make a call, we'll answer.
Hey, what? I'm one blown knee out from getting there. Get the offer.
This is brutal. Let's move on.
Hang on, Bob. Give me one more scratch and Peptos. I got a case of squirts, but I still want to drink.
All right. Last call time. We talked about a lot of stuff tonight. We fit a lot in a pretty short period of time, which is good for us. Anybody, Nick, do you have anything that we have not talked about that you think is worth a mention?
I'm not a fan of the Jets or the Giants.
Right.
But for the Empire State Building to put up the Patriots and Eagles colors is the most asinine and bullshit thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't understand what the reason behind it was, but it makes no sense.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. I agree. Brett, what do you got? Anything?
Christian Yelich got his wish out of Miami. He had, I guess, asked Derek Jeter once
get me out,
and Ozuna and D Gordon left. He was kind of like, yo, you're not gonna hang me out to dry here. And so they made a deal. The Marlins made a deal for Yelich to go to the Brewers. It's not Miami, so good for him. He's a really nice ball player. I like him. I don't think he's like a franchise cornerstone or anything, but he's a very nice piece. I wish him all the best of luck in Milwaukee.
Speaking of nice pieces, Richie Incognito and Yannick Ngakoue. Is that how you say his name? Ngakoue? Did I get that right? Am I not?
Sure.
Ngakoue, if you remember, he accused Incognito of racial slurs on the field during the playoff game. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Incognito says, we shook hands and hugged it out. So
that's great. That's great.
Nothing but love here by Richie Incognito.
Jeff, can I ask you one question before we cut this short?
Sure.
Why the fuck did Kristaps Porzingis sit out against the Warriors and is playing against the Nuggets?
Very tired.
Because they might win against the Nuggets.
Very tired.
Just switch those games around. I'll play against the Warriors. I'm gonna sit against the Nuggets.
They could have won against the Warriors had he played. There was a close game. They played well.
They did play well. It wasn't
I don't know.
bad.
I mean, look, you got to temper your expectations. The kid's 22 years old. He's a wet noodle. But the flashes that we saw in the beginning of the year were. It's clear that right now it's not sustainable through an 82-game season. Which was my big concern in the beginning. I mean,
you're right, but he's like you said, he's 22 years old. He's already missed 7 games.
Yeah.
Extrapolate over that full season, that's 14 games.
Right.
At 22, that number is not going to decrease.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
No, I think it's clear that he's going to have some injury issues. He's a little bit soft, and I think that he's probably turning out to look more like a second banana than a top guy. And that's
still good. That's like
yeah, it's still good, but it's a shame. You know what I mean? It's the type of thing where there are moments where he has flashes where he looks like he's a top 10 player in the league, and then he does things like, falls in love with the perimeter shot, and then 2 games later just sits out because he's tired. So I mean, that's just not what a franchise guy does. So
okay, I think that's a great answer.
It pains me to give it, but I think that's the truth from my perspective. So we'll see. Thanks for taking the time, everybody. We appreciate it. I know our schedule's been a little bit off the last couple weeks. We're going to try to get back to our typical Tuesday, Wednesday recording and publishing time slot. We do have some rather big things going on in many people's lives here that may change that.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Can I announce? Nikki had an announcement. Can I announce?
Yeah, do it.
Well, so if you switch back to your regular schedule, okay. But if we were to hold the podcast a week from tonight, next Thursday, I would be unable to do it because my wonderful baby daughter will be gracing us in this world. So,
hey, congratulations!
Thank you. I'm excited.
Baby Bella.
Baby Belichick. That is her name on the show, by the way. No matter what I name her, her name on the show is Baby Bella.
Right.
So yeah, I'm excited. So I can't wait. And that's all. It's very self-serving. It's very vain to say, but I'm excited.
It's awesome. It's awesome. So if we can get to you on time next week, we will. If we don't, you probably won't hear Brett for a little while. I'm not so sure his wife is
The next year.
Is as forgiving as mine, where I did a podcast like nope.
You guys drove home from the hospital.
3 hours from the hospital. Does the podcast.
I might have caught a little shit for that today. Not gonna lie. When
That was a great move. It was a great move.
I still take responsibility for the kid.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. Thanks for taking time, everybody. Peace.
Desperandum, dear lady. Across the desert lies the promised land.
Sir.
Goodbye, Mrs. Gloop.
Sir.
Adieu. Auf Wiedersehen. Gesundheit. Farewell.
Fare thee well to you, my own true love. River Mercy, fare thee well. I am bound for California, a place that I know right well.